Even if you're not paying attention on the upcoming game releases, you probably already heard of Stellar Blade. This game has drawn a lot of attention since its first teasers, back when it was still called Project Eve. And I can think of at least 2 good reasons why Stellar Blade has attracted so much attention and so much controversy. But in case you're completely out of the loop, this is a third-person action game exclusive to the PlayStation 5 and created by the Korean developer Shift Up. And Stellar Blade combines Bayonetta's action with Nier's atmosphere and a Souls-like style of combat with a semi-linear world and a narrative to explore. And to top it all off, the main protagonist is easy on the eyes, let's just put it that way. And finally, on March 29th, the demo for this game was released, and we can finally get past the rumors and speculations, because what really matters to me is whether or not this will be a fun and interesting game. So let's take a look at what this demo has to offer, and check out whether Stellar Blade is more than just a pretty face. Alright, the demo clearly focuses on the combat and the core gameplay mechanics, but here we have a post-apocalyptic world in a devastated future where the little that remains of humanity is fighting to reclaim the planet. In this dystopian scenario, we take on the role of Eve, a warrior with a far from simple mission, to help reconquer Earth and defeat the Naytibas, these monstrous creatures that terrorize our civilization. Right at the beginning of the game, our companion is the mysterious Taki, but during the rest of the demo, we have another helping hand with a not-so-subtle biblical reference called Adam. And even though the demo is quite short, around more or less 50 minutes, it's clear that this will be a journey of many discoveries, exploring the ruins of the planet, using the technology that still survived, and trying to put together this puzzle, defeating the invaders, and revealing the mysteries that explain the events that led to this desolate reality. It's also possible to find memory cards and access codes on the bodies of Legion warriors, but in general, it's too early to judge any more complex details of the story, such as the depth and pace of the plot. There are some more traditional cutscenes, but part of the story is also communicated in conversation during the missions, such as the fact that these ruins that we are exploring at the beginning of the game are actually in a good shape compared to other places on the planet. And when I first started this demo, I felt like I was playing a remaster of a PS3 and 360 game, and I mean that in the best possible way. Stellar Blade has that whole vibe of a game that could easily have been released back in 2010. And I'm not just talking about the looks of the main character, but also the design of the enemies and the atmosphere of the environments with those more somber colors. The only thing missing here is that yellowish peace filter to complete the aesthetic of a 7th generation game. But don't get me wrong, the graphics are really beautiful and the movement is very fluid, both for Eve and the enemies. And again, it's too early to judge, but at least in the duration of the demo I didn't notice any performance problem. Now, regarding this whole discussion around Eve's appearance, personally speaking, it's not something that bothers me, as there are more important things about this game, like the combat mechanics. And I think the game's director's logic is understandable. He says that when he plays a game, he likes to see someone who is better looking than him, and he also reminds us that this is a game made for adults. Plus, to add to his statement, you also have the bold choice of simply not buying or playing it. Not to mention that just the amount of free advertising that Stellar Blade has achieved, just because of this character alone, already serves as a kind of validation for his choice. So, with that said, my concern was that this game would just be a pretty face, but luckily it is more than that. And Stellar Blade's combat was a surprise for me. I was expecting a traditional hack and slash, and when I saw that the game would use the face buttons for the combat, that's when I really thought this was going to be a pure-blooded hack and slash. But I was wrong. And I took a lot of beatings, literally speaking, until I got the hang of the combat in this game, and I had to keep reminding myself that this isn't a Bayonetta or a Devil May Cry clone, and that while it's possible to pull off combos and use special abilities, the pace here is different. I wouldn't say this is a game that's solely focused on countering enemies, but you do need to keep an eye out and react to the slightest sign of an attack, whether it's going for a perfect dodge or a parry, since both give you some form of advantage for your next attack. In case of the parry, it breaks the enemy's balance and opens up space for the use of retaliation, which deals a lot of damage. And with time and failed attempts, you start to learn the attack patterns and be able to put together better and more effective strategies. Not to forget that you can also jump, which adds a new dimension to the combat, and that Eve has a firearm and can perform long-ranged attacks. But even so, the pace is much more measured and strategic, although I imagine that in the complete version of the game, with more unlocked skills and upgraded weapons, the attack sequences will become more dynamic. And during fights, it's also possible to use potions, either to recover a certain amount of health immediately, or to keep recovering for a few seconds. There is a small animation during the process of using items, which is not too long, but it's not instantaneous either, so you will need some planning to open up space when using items. And during downtime, Eve can jump, climb, hang from bars, swim, and push objects. So even though the overall structure of the game is quite linear, there's still a certain amount of freedom to scan the environments with the drone and explore in the ruins to find supply crates and hidden collectibles. And as you progress through the game, you encounter camps that act as a checkpoint to replenish your health, to buy items and upgrade your skills. And in the demo, there are 3 skill sets available. Attack, which offers options to improve her ambush and attack skills, better energy recharge after each strike, and enhanced combo attacks. Survival, which focuses on defense maneuvers, providing upgrades for blocking, parrying, and dodging, and also impact control. And finally, there's the beta skill tree, which unlocks and improves special attacks. In addition, you can find supply crates containing potions and other items, such as nano elements and initiators. These components can be used to further enhance Eve's combat abilities. And I have to say that I enjoyed what I saw in the Stellar Blade demo, a game I wasn't following closely and that turned out to be a pleasant surprise. Instead of the frenetic hack and slash I was expecting, I found a more measured and strategic combat, requiring a certain attention to parries and dodges, a choice that shows that Stellar Blade seeks to offer a more complex combat experience. In addition, this game is a smaller project and therefore can be more ambitious in its character design, which I don't even need to go into details about, and its combat mechanics. But fortunately or unfortunately, I imagine that a large part of the discourse around this game will be focused on the appearance of the protagonist. But Stellar Blade does have the potential to be a fun game. And one of the coolest things about the previous generations, from the PS3 backwards mainly, is that there were many of those games that could be classified as AA. And that is, with more investment than an indie game, sometimes even with an alternative team from a big developer, but at the same time, far from being a AAA with dozens and dozens of millions of budget and more than half a decade of development. They were very polished experiences, but that could take more risks and would require less time in development, without so many ties imposed by the big budgets. And that is why I see Stellar Blade with good eyes. Who knows if it doesn't have the potential to recover the essence of the AA scene in a modern context. But while this demo provides a taste of the game, it can't fully showcase the story's potential or how the combat will evolve with a wider range of enemies and skills. Only a complete playthrough will reveal these aspects, which is something I intend to do, but not at full price. I'll be waiting to snag this game at a discount, so when a good sale shows up, you can be sure I'll be playing it and sharing my thoughts in a review right here. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Have a great day and see you next time.